There are towns in this country that will pay you good money to come and live in them. Real money, in your hand, not a coupon and not some gimmick. It is not a scam. And the catch is not the one you're thinking. The catch is quieter than that, and I'll get to every one of them. I'm Marion. I found my own quiet place later in life, on almost nothing, after I'd stopped believing there was a corner of the world left that would have a woman like me. So when a list like this crosses my path, I don't read it the way a young couple with 2 paychecks reads it. I read it the way a woman on her own actually has to read it. One income or one small pension, one set of hands, and nobody coming to help if it goes sideways in the night. And that's the very thing these lists never tell you. They'll shout the dollar figure across the top of the page in big yellow letters. What they never mention is whether a woman by herself could actually feel safe there, whether she could manage a winter alone, whether there's a doctor within an hour, whether a single soul would notice if her lights didn't come on for 3 days. The glossy relocation lists never mention that. I will. So before we're done, I'm going to count you down 12 real towns and 12 real programs. Places that will pay you to move, or hand you a piece of land for nothing, or let you live for almost nothing. And I'm going to give you the honest catch to every single one, and tell you straight which ones a woman on her own could truly take. Stay with me, because the ones I'd actually consider are near the end. But first, the one question you have to answer before you'd ever pack a single box, because if you get this one wrong, none of the free money in the world will save you. Now, let me say one honest thing up front, the way I'd want somebody to say it to me. Everything I'm about to tell you is general information. It is not financial advice. It is not legal advice. And it is not a promise. These programs change. They run out of money, they close, they rewrite the fine print between the day I say this and the day you happen to hear it. So take every number here as a place to start looking, not a place to stop. And before you count on a single dollar of any of it, you call that town's own office and you make them tell you the current terms themselves. Promise me that much. Here's the mistake almost everybody makes with a list like this. They sort it by the money. They find the biggest number and they start dreaming. And the biggest number is almost never the best deal. Because free is never actually free, and paid is never actually just paid. There are 2 catches hiding under nearly every one of these, and once you see them, you cannot unsee them. The first catch is that most of the towns waving cash at you want you to have a remote job, work you can do from a laptop, for an employer somewhere else. And if you're retired, or living on Social Security, or a little pension like a lot of us are, that rules you clean out. The second catch is that most of the towns handing out free land want you to build a whole house on it, a real house, to code, on a deadline. And building a house is about the least free thing there is. So as we go, I'm not just going to tell you the number. I'm going to tell you which catch each one carries and who it honestly fits. My great Aunt Dot moved 5 times in her long life, always with less than she started with, and she used to say, a place doesn't owe you a home. You make the home, and the place just holds still while you do it. She raised what she needed in a garden about the size of a bedspread and never once called herself poor. I think of her every time one of these towns promises to hand somebody a whole new life. They can hand you a lot. They cannot hand you a home. That part is still yours to build, and Dot would want me to say so plainly. Number 12 is Terre Haute, Indiana, a small city on the Wabash River, and it's one of dozens of Indiana towns running this same kind of program right now. Move there as a remote worker and you can collect up to about $8,800, most of it cash. the rest in things like a co-working membership you may or may not ever use. The state helps the towns pay for it, so it is real, and it has been renewed for this year. The catch is the one I warned you about. You need that remote job for an employer outside the area, and you have to actually live there. What I like about Terre Haute for a woman on her own is that it isn't a speck on the map. It's a real small city with a university in it, which means hospitals and people, and a grocery store open past dark. When you're by yourself, that ordinary bustle is worth more than it sounds. What I'll tell you honest is that the money is fine, not life-changing. $8,000 does not move you across the country and set you up. Take it as help, not as a plan. Number 11 is Mercer County, Missouri, way up in the rolling hills of the northern part of the state, and I'll admit, the name of their program is what caught me. They call it Find Your Peace in Mercer County. For a remote worker who moves there, the package runs around $6,500 in cash and perks. The catch, again, is the remote job. And this one is small, so don't come for the money. Come for what it actually is, which is deep country quiet, the kind a person who has had too much noise in her life goes looking for on purpose. The honest word of caution for a woman alone is just the flip side of that same coin. It is remote. A county that peaceful is a long drive from a real hospital and a hard place to get help in a hurry. Peace and isolation are the same road. One is only the pretty name, and the other is the bill that comes with it. Go in with your eyes open. Number 10 is Natchez, Mississippi, an old, beautiful river town full of history, more than 1,000 buildings on the historic register, churches on the corners, a walkable old district you could get around in without a car. Their program has been called Shift South, and it has offered remote workers up to $6,000, a couple thousand toward the move, and $300 a month across your first year. If you buy a home there worth $150,000 or more, and stay put. Now here is where I keep my own promise to you. I could not confirm that Natchez is taking new applicants this year at the terms I just read you. It may be, it may not. So don't you dare pack a box for Natchez on my say-so. You call them and check the current terms before you count on a dime of it. What draws me to the place anyway is that a warm old town with front porches and neighbors sitting on them is a gentle spot to be a woman on her own. The catch beyond the money is that buying a $150,000 house is its own mountain to climb. Now let me stop a moment, because here's the part most people rush right past. Every one of those first three wanted you to have a remote job. And I know exactly how that lands if you're sitting there on a fixed income, because I have sat there. It feels like the whole thing was built for somebody younger with a laptop career, and not for you at all. I won't sugarcoat it. A great many of the cash programs are built for that person. But the next batch is different. The next batch does not care whether you have a job at all. They ask only one thing of you, that you build, and that is a different kind of catch. So let's walk into it together. Number 9 is Marquette, Kansas, a little Swedish-founded town, artsy for its size, and they will hand you a residential lot for free. Not cheap, free. The land itself costs you nothing. The catch is written right into the deal. You apply with a building plan and proof you can pay for the build, and once they say yes, the clock starts. You generally have to break ground within about 180 days and finish the home inside a year. That is fast, and it is not cheap, and I want you to hear both of those words. For a woman alone, a town like Marquette is the kind of place where everybody knows everybody, and that cuts both ways. It means a neighbor notices when something's wrong, and it means there are no secrets and no anonymous corner to slip into on a bad day. Some of us find that a comfort, some of us find it a cage. Only you know which one you are. Number 8 is Manila, Iowa, a farming town of maybe 775 souls out in the western part of the state, and they've been giving away lots in a subdivision they call the Sunrise Edition. Free land again, but Manila sweetens it more than most. The utilities are run right to the lot with no hookup fee. There's a 5-year break on your property taxes, and they'll point first-time buyers toward help worth up to nearly $35,000 for a down payment. The catch is the same as all the freeland towns. You have to build the house to their covenant on their timeline. The woman alone truth about Manila is the truth about most of these tiny farm towns. It is safe the way a small place is safe, and it is quiet the way a small place is quiet, but it is a long way from anything, and you had best like your own company and be able to drive yourself where you need to go. Folks in the city think a place like that sounds like nothing. No mall, no traffic, no noise. Out here we've learned to hear it the other way around. No mall is no temptation. No traffic is no rush. No noise is the very thing some of us drove 1,000 miles to find. The nothing is the whole point. Number 7 might be my favorite oddball on this entire list. Middle River, Minnesota, a tiny town up near the Canadian line that calls itself the Goose Capital and means it. They'll give you a lot for free, and a free building permit, and 2 years of free water and sewer, and a free electric hookup. And then, because they are clearly enjoying themselves, they pile on a $100 gift card to the local tavern, a year of the town newspaper, which is named The Honker, and a fire extinguisher from the insurance man. Here's the part I love for our purposes. Middle River caps who can apply by income. If you make more than about $93,000 a year in a household of 1 or 2, you are too rich for them. Which means, for once, a program actually built for people of modest means instead of against them. The catch is, you still have to build inside 2 years. And the blunt truth is, this is far north, and it is cold, and it is small, and it is remote. A winter up there alone is not a thing you take lightly. But if you want a town that is downright tickled to have you, it is this one. Let me catch my breath here and tell you something honest before we get to the ones I'd truly consider. I nearly put a 13th town on this list, a little place in Kansas that had been giving away free lots for years. I had it written in my notes. I had the number ready, and when I went to check it the way I keep telling you to check it, I found the program had quietly closed and the last of the lots had gone to a builder. Just like that, gone. And there's a state out east that used to write remote workers a check. That one traded the check for a helper who walks you through the move, which is a kind thing, but a kind thing is not a check. I tell you this not to discourage you, but to keep you honest, and to keep me honest. These offers dry up. The list you are hearing is true today. Today is all I can promise you, and all anyone can. So we check. Number 6 is Curtis, Nebraska, a plains town of somewhere around 800 to 1,000 people, and their free lots come shovel-ready, with the paved street and the water and the power already run right up to the curb. That is a real head start. It takes some of the sting out of building. They'll ask you to prove you can pay for the house, either in cash or with a construction loan, and to finish inside about 2 years, and to actually live there. No vacation homes allowed. What sets Curtis a little apart from the other small towns is that it has a college in it, an agricultural college. And a college means young people and events and a bit more life than a town that size usually carries. For a woman on her own, a place with a little pulse to it can be the whole difference between peaceful and lonesome, and those two are not the same thing. I know, because I have lived on both sides of that line. Number 5 is Newton, Iowa, and this one is a hybrid. They pay you, and you build. Put up a new single-family home there, and through this year at least, and while the money lasts, the town hands you $10,000 in cash at closing, plus a welcome package worth a couple thousand more. The catch is a big one, and I won't hide it. The incentive is aimed at homes valued around $240,000 and up, so this is not a program for building small and cheap. It rewards you for putting up a real, sizable house. Newton itself is a small city not far from Des Moines, and that is a genuine plus for a woman alone. A real hospital within reach, a city's worth of services close by. But I'd only send you here if building a full-sized home is truly within your means, because $10,000 is a lovely help and a poor rescue. Never let a rebate talk you into a mortgage you'll lie awake over. I have watched cheap money buy expensive regret more than once. Number 4 is Elwood, Nebraska, a small village out on the plains, and I put it this high because it does something most of the free land towns don't. It does not just give you the lot, it helps pay for the build. Free lot, a $500 deposit you get back when you finish, and then the village reimburses 10% of your construction costs, up to $25,000. That is real money toward the hardest part. The catches are a deadline. You begin building within a year and move in within 2. And a fussy one worth knowing, which is that they open the applications for only a short window early in the year, so timing matters and you cannot dawdle. For a woman alone, it is the usual small plains town bargain. Quiet, safe the way tiny places are safe, but remote, and you will be driving a good way for a hospital or a real grocery run. Still, $25,000 toward a house you own free and clear is the kind of number that can change what is even possible for a person of modest means. This one I would genuinely look at. Number 3 is Choose Topeka in Kansas, and it earns its spot because it is flexible in a way almost none of the others are. Depending on your situation, it can be worth up to $15,000 if you're buying with a regular job, up to $10,000 as a remote worker buying a home, and here's the one that matters for a lot of us. About $5,000 just to rent. Renting. Not building, not buying, not taking on a mortgage at our age if we don't care to. The catches are honest ones. Your employer needs to be outside the county, you have to live and work there about a year, and if you leave early, you may have to pay some of it back. So you read that part twice. But Topeka is the state capital. A real city with hospitals and doctors and an airport and a church of every kind on every kind of corner, walkable neighborhoods, people. For a woman who wants a fresh start with a net of real services around her and who doesn't want to build a single thing, that rent option is a quietly wonderful door. Number 2 is Ascend, West Virginia, and it is the biggest straight cash offer on my whole list. $12,000 paid out to you month by month across 2 years for moving to one of their mountain communities as a remote worker. Morgantown, the Greenbrier Valley, the Eastern Panhandle, Elkins, the New River Gorge. Beautiful, green, folded up country they like to call almost heaven, and honestly it earns the name. They throw in an outdoor recreation package and a co-working spot on top of the cash. The catch is you need the remote job and you have to commit to 2 full years. That is the longest leash on this list. And if you're the sort who might bolt after one hard winter, that matters. For a woman alone, West Virginia's small mountain cities give you something rare. Real natural beauty and real community and church life without being so far out that you are truly stranded. If I were younger and still working from a laptop, this is the one my heart would argue for. And number one, the one I'd actually tell my own sister to look at first, is Tulsa Remote in Oklahoma. Now, it is not the most money. It is $10,000, a relocation payment and a monthly stipend and a lump sum at the end of your first year for moving to Tulsa as a remote worker and making it your true home. So why on earth would I put it above the bigger checks? Because of the promise I made you at the very top. I am reading these as a woman on her own, and by that measure, Tulsa is the sanest landing on the entire list. It is a real city. It has real hospitals, an airport, neighbors, groceries at 10 at night, a church of nearly any kind you please, and enough going on that a woman by herself is neither stranded nor invisible. All that romance about a free acre in a town of 200 souls is lovely right up until the night you fall on the ice and there is no one to hear you. Tulsa answers that fear. The catch is the honest one. You need remote work, and you owe them a year in your new home. But for a woman starting over who wants to be safe and seen and not building a house with her own two hands at our age, this is the door I would knock on first. So there they are, all 12. And let me gather them back up for you the way I'd want them gathered. If you have a remote job, the cash towns are real. Tulsa's 10,000, West Virginia's 12, Topeka up to 15, Terre Haute, Mercer County, and Natchez if it's still running. And let me say it one more time, you check that one yourself. If you don't have work, you can carry in a laptop, but you can manage a build. The freeland towns will hand you the ground for nothing. Marquette, Manila, Middle River, Curtis, and the two that actually help you pay for the house, Newton and Elwood. And if you take one single thing from an old woman who has counted her own dollars for a long time, let it be this. The number at the top of the flyer is the smallest part of the decision. The real questions are the quiet ones. Could I be warm there? Could I get to a doctor? Would anybody know if I needed help? Could I still afford it after the free part runs out and it is just me and the tax bill and the winter? All of this is general information and my own honest read, not financial or legal advice, so you verify every program's current terms yourself before you move a thing. And when you go visit, trust your gut. If a place does not feel right when your own 2 feet are standing in it, you leave. There is no prize for staying somewhere that scares you. But don't let all those catches talk you out of the dream either. I very nearly let them talk me out of mine, and it would have been the great mistake of my life. The honest truth is, you do not need the biggest check, and you do not need the perfect town. You need a patch of somewhere you can afford, and a little courage, and the rest you build the way Great Aunt Dot always said. You make the home, and the place just holds still while you do it. I'm proof it can be done on almost nothing. The less I needed, the freer I got. Next time, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I keep food through a whole winter out here without much of a fridge. It's simpler and older than you'd think, and it is the natural next step once you've found your own patch of ground. That's the honest truth of it. From my cabin to wherever you are, if you're on this road too, or just sitting with the dream of it, the coffee's always on. It's quieter out here in the pines, and I've come to believe that's the whole point. I'll see you next time.